If I left, then it made no sense. And you tell your friends and they hold your hands. Baby, never mind, baby, never mind, never mind, never mind.
Hello and welcome to Hair Matters, a podcast from Boston sponsored by Noelle Salon. And today we are going to talk about online review sites, one such as Yelp. It can be a necessary evil, or it can really be evil.
Yeah. We have to figure out if we love it or we hate it.
I think we could all do without it.
You think so?
I think when you're a business that has a lot of people coming and going, you're not going to please everybody. And what ends up happening is bad news travels a lot faster than good news. And people will take to Yelp a lot quicker to complain versus going on to compliment.
Yeah, and I think that Yelp filters, I know that Yelp filters a lot of good reviews and keeps a lot of the bad reviews almost as like, I don't know, they want to keep the bad reviews.
Well, no, so this is what I know of them. So Yelp has an algorithm, quote unquote, that they say, these reviews just pop up and they know which ones to take out and which ones not to take out. Well, the long and short of it is, we just had a review recycled from 2015.
Ridiculous.
With a 1-star review. Mm-hmm. And it was not good. As a business owner, we know that we're supposed to learn from that, okay? But you can't learn much from someone who just says they were unhappy. They didn't give a long explanation. So that's not a learning experience. If someone goes on and truly had a bad experience, then we have to address it. And many times, I'll address it directly to the person. My goal would be, though, to instead of having someone go directly to Yelp, they would come directly to the salon owner first if they're unhappy.
I think that a lot of people who do go to Yelp, that's their thing. And I know that Yelp really keeps a lot of reviews on people who have had a lot of history of reviewing. So if you're like, for instance, if I have a client and she's first time and she loves her hair, and what she could do is like a great thing for me is write a nice review on whatever Google reviews or Yelp, and she creates an account, she does this great review, and they take it down within 24 hours because she doesn't have other reviews. And it almost seems like the only reviews they keep are people who do write negative reviews over and over and over again.
Well, or people who are what's called an elite Yelper.
Which is almost like a Yelp journalist.
Someone who has nothing better to do with their time. And I'm sorry to sound so negative, but I have read some of the elite Yelpers' reviews. They're reviewing Dunkin' Donuts.
I think they get some type of coupon or...
No, what they do is they'll go to a restaurant and tell them, oh, I'm an elite Yelper. And then
get great service.
They get great service. They get free
Don't
dessert.
Don't do that in my chat because it's not going to do anything for you.
I mean, it comes to a point where, okay, so right now we're sitting at a 4.5-star review, which is decent. But honestly, I'm not going to say that some things weren't earned, but why are we getting the reviews from 2014, 15? They really should go, because honestly, in a hair salon, we retain a lot of our staff, but a lot of those reviews are about people that don't even work there anymore. It's not really fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel that.
And this algorithm it seems like a bunch of malarkey to me. And the other part of it is, if you're an elite Yelper, they have come to our salon and told me. So it's like extortion.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say is there are some good signs, which we'll talk about, to Yelp, but there's the side of where people feel entitled to use Yelp as, some type of leverage. Like if they don't like something or they want more money off, or
Can I just call it extortion?
Yeah, it definitely is. They're like, well, I'm going to write a review on Yelp. And it's like, well, okay, what are you supposed to do they we've given money back.
Oh my gosh. And that's like in the industry, we're not supposed
services to. And people will still keep the Yelp review. They don't keep their word. It's just, you can't win.
You cannot win if someone, and I'm not going to say this for everybody that uses Yelp. I'm sure there's a good amount of people who are really legitimate and like to review businesses. But a lot of people who use Yelp are using it in such a manner that we just spoke of. Some of them will have accounts and use it to extort you. Because the reason why I know this is they will say, if you don't give me back my money, I will go to Yelp. Okay. So you don't want to give back money when how can you stay in business when you've completed a hair service? You've colored the hair, for an example, or you've done even more expensive service such as hair extensions, and you're giving back money for that instead of saying, come in and let us fix your problem. But they don't want that because they have Yelp.
Yeah, I do think that in this business, you have to allow your stylist to fix the problem versus just getting money back, because that's still their time, whether you like it or not, what they've done, or, you know, if you didn't come to some type of agreement on your resolution of your hair. Okay. But that still was product, time. They have to feed their kids, their cats, their whatever.
The salon
too.
pays them too.
You have to be fair and allow them to fix the problem before you start asking for this and that and writing these horrible reviews. Because in this business of customer service, that's all we have to show ourselves, our reviews and, you know, our self-work. And if you're just diminishing it by a few words from a place you've really never been to, that's awful.
Well, I can tell you too, I do more research when I'll actually look at the people who write reviews. And what's interesting is the majority of their reviews are negative, 1 and 2 stars.
Yeah.
And occasionally you'll see them put a 4 or 5 star out there, and that may be for a friend. But I don't remember if you remember DTR. I'm not going to say his name. It's a Boston guy. It's actually kind of famous around Boston. He came in many years ago, and he saw you and I. And he had taken his cousin in or something and just had a consultation for hair extensions. Just quick consultation. They didn't want to stay long. It seemed like it went really well. And he ended up never getting back to us about whether or not they'd want to book. Because, you know, consultations are free. They can leave, decide later. And lo and behold, I opened up Yelp and I saw DTR's review. And it was so disparaging. I mean, what he said about you and I, even on a personal basis, commenting about how we looked, et cetera, not our work. And, you know, he had no clue about what our work would be like because
he never even got it done.
Well, his friend didn't have it done, or whoever he brought in with him. And then after our review was a stellar review for a competitive salon, a salon that was in Boston, in town, that also did hair extensions. And I just, you know, I reached out to him through direct message, and I said, why did you do that? We didn't have an opportunity to do anybody's hair. And he said, it's my opinion, and I'm an elite Yelper. So I said, okay. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to get to the bottom of this, because I felt that it was coming from competition. I flagged his review. Yelp didn't take it down because he had that status that he had maybe 100 reviews, okay? So I did my own research. I think I told you this.
Yeah.
And I found that he was reviewing all of his friends. He had his own jewelry business. He actually reviewed his own jewelry business. So what I did is I took all screenshots of who the owners were of these businesses, how he was affiliated, and I sent them all to Yelp until I finally got their attention. Do you know, the one thing I have to say is they took down the review and they
blocked him.
They canceled his account.
Well, thank God. I mean, that's really someone taking advantage of what the system, like what Yelp is for.
Yeah. But there's a million of them doing that, unfortunately. There's a lot of people doing that. And I know that a lot of new businesses have it really difficult because I don't care what anybody says. People will read the 1-star review probably a lot quicker than the 3, 4, or 5-star review.
Yeah. I think it's really unfair too, because when you have small businesses, hair salons or small clothing companies, whatever, smaller businesses, and when you go in and you write a bad review, and again, unless it's something really bad, like they got food poisoning or they broke your hair, I mean, really bad things, you are rooting them for getting good reviews. It takes so much more to get your reviews back up. But like these big franchises like Dunkin' Donuts or these Stellaria salons where you have a ton of people packed into a place, people don't review that ever, and you get the worst customer service.
Or if they review they don't care. They're
I want
making
someone to
enough
review
money.
the Dunkin' Donuts down the street
No,
from me
but-
because the people in there are god awful.
Some
But they're
do.
not going to get reviews. You know, it's just like,
Well, I do think there's something to be said about reviewing something like Dunkin' Donuts. I guess.
but that's what I
don't
mean.
know.
Like they never review franchises because you can't get to that one-on-one person.
Well, because they can't use their status as
Well,
as an elite
that's-
person
yeah,
or
I
someone
mean-
who reviews a lot. They can't. No one. What would McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts say to them?
Well, that's what I mean.
what you
You're
want.
taking advantage of people who do have smaller businesses
business.
who
That's
are
who it-
trying to support
right.
themselves.
That's who it affects, and that's why we're doing this Yelp broadcast because, you're not going to win with Yelp. You can't. You can
No.
flag a review if they want to keep it, they'll keep it. They will also recycle older reviews, which I mentioned today, and that's the reason why we did this, is because we just saw the review from like 4
we
years
had
ago.
a whole other podcast all set up.
all set up.
And we just were like, let's just wing this because it was so fresh on our mind. But I do have to say, with talking about the negative, there are some positive. And I've had some amazing reviews and great clients that are just so sweet. And I won't even ask them. They'll just take it upon themselves. Unfortunately, if they don't have a history with Yelp, they will take down that review. But I just got a wonderful Yelp review.
You did.
And I didn't even have to say anything.
Unsolicited.
She just decided upon herself. She's a Yelper, but a good Yelper. And she just decided to write something nice. And I do think there are people who just want to be nice and just write nice things.
Absolutely.
About companies.
And we have a lot of friends in our business, and it's kind of cool because we have fun. I mean, this can be a really fun industry. And a lot of our friends will say, Noelle, I saw this review. And they'll write a review just to defend us, to say, well, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And it's sad because this is what I think it boils down to. So we advertise on Yelp. I don't want to advertise on Yelp. I really don't, because I would like everything that's said about our business to be great, but I'm realistic to say that we can't please everyone.
Well, sometimes it is, I'm not talking about just our business, but sometimes the reviews are for the fault of the people that they are going to, meaning
Sure.
that they've done something that isn't great or treated them not great, and they deserve a bad review too.
I totally agree. Any legitimate business will probably have a mix of good and
Ups and
some bad
downs.
reviews. But what happens is, if you are a business and you want to advertise with Yelp, how about if you're a 2-star business? Would you really want to advertise with them? So I think what happens is you're tricked into believing that if you do advertise with them, they're going to try to boost up your reviews. And in some cases, I have seen reviews I've seen them knock down some poor reviews. So that means if you advertise with them, ultimately you may actually get
Better reviews.
posted. Your better reviews to stick, not to be
Taken off.
extracted.
Well, speaking for myself, I have really maybe wrote 2 reviews of any business in my entire life.
I never.
Maybe I'm just not the generation that it really kicked
I
in.
don't think it's a generation thing. I think it's, you could write an Amazon review. I personally
really
don't
haven't
even
done that. I'll go right to the people of Amazon myself and just be like, I want a refund, or
I think that's because we're in business, so we understand that the damage it can do.
mm-hmm.
But as I was saying, we do advertise on Yelp, and in a good amount of money for one salon. Ultimately, you can go in the back end of the Yelp business page, and you can see how many people reach out to you. It's not that many.
Yeah. Well, you're also doing it just to make sure, like you said, you're keeping on good terms with Yelp. That's what it sounds more like.
I feel like that
they're extorting you too in some way.
I think they're getting it from both ends. They can get reviewers on there. They can get businesses who want to make sure their reviews stay decent, although they did recycle a review that just shocked me. And then there was another girl that, oh my God, I did so much for this girl. I did her hair extensions. I let her pay by check, which I never do. She bounced the check. She wrote a horrible review. Mm-hmm. She said I didn't put enough hair on her head.
The cure for that is just come in and add more hair. You don't have to write a horrible review about that.
We counted them. before she
I
left.
know, but I mean, they're easy quote unquote fixes that you don't
Of
have to go
course.
to Yelp and destroy someone's name.
Well, she was negative in my chair, and I should have known that. But how do you know? You know,
It's
if I
a red
knew-
flag.
that flag
I
is
always
waving.
I always say when there's someone that comes in, I'm like, if that's not a sign to just say maybe this is not the place for you,
Absolutely.
I don't know what is.
But she did just do, everything. I literally counted her hair extensions in front of her, mind you. She accused me of not putting in the amount that I said because she said she went home and had her daughter count them. Now, we don't actually put in extensions by the exact number of actual extensions we add, but I know because I counted them. She wanted to bounce the check. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She didn't bounce it. She stopped payment on that check.
I remember this.
She still has her review on our website, on Yelp, on Yelp. And I flagged the review. And I said to them, now there's no way for me to upload. When you flag a review and you want to say why you disagree with this, I wanted to tell them, A, this isn't true because I counted this. B, I have her bounce check. So can't you see that this person is a problem? You can't even upload all that information. And I wanted to send them pictures. But they said, no, we have to have, that's her opinion and it has to stick. And I understand that people do have an opinion,
Yeah.
but bouncing a check.
But you have to
Shows
also
you
protect
intent.
the business too as Yelp, because like even so Poshmark, which I'm sure you've heard of, it's a way to deal with selling clothes, seller to seller, buyer to buyer, whatever. Now they have a really, really good way of defending yourself as the seller and as the buyer. So for instance, I've sold things on there and people will take pictures of different products that are damaged and send it in and say, okay, she sent me this and it didn't look like that or whatever. But I have my own pictures and I have my own facts.
And you
that
can
I send,
upload those
and
pictures?
I upload and I fight with it to protect myself. And they always usually take their time, go through it. They'll do something for her on their own, not coming out of my pocket if they feel they need to.
Mm-hmm.
Or they do something for me.
So unlike Yelp, where we can't post a picture.
No.
So that they allow
You have no way
to
to
do that.
defend yourself
No,
whatsoever.
But
You have to just
that's
take
unfair.
it.
So I think that even like I said, you said people have differences of opinion. So you can show so someone posted a picture of your stuff. You posted a picture
Yeah.
of what you actually sent them. And it gives people the
Security.
opportunity also to say, well, maybe that person's not so right. But if someone posts a picture of what they consider their hair is in poor condition, and that could be for any salon, not just ours, and that salon can't post the picture that they have, because we, as an example, we take before and afters of everybody.
Always.
So we can't even, you as a business owner, you can't even defend yourself that
No.
way. So it's not really fair. So yes, there is freedom of speech, as you had said,
Yep.
but in what level? Where does it
Yeah,
end?
but you have to have freedom of speech too as the business. So you can't just allow freedom of speech to the
No, your hands
seller
are
or
tied.
client or whatever. You have to have it
In
as well.
fact, when you want to answer, you do have the ability to answer back a review, but it clearly states Yelp advises that you keep it to like a one sentence. I'm sorry for your experience. Next time we'll try to do better. They literally put that out there for you.
Do they have like a 1-800 number that you can literally call somebody, or is it all through?
Call Yelp?
Yeah, like can
Oh,
you speak to
no.
someone? Well, that's the thing too. Like you have to be able to at some point speak to someone. I can't
Never.
stand where it's like, well, email or we're online. It's like, no, I want to speak to you.
Oh, no, they don't want you to get to know somebody.
Exactly.
In fact, when they have their sales team, and this is pretty common through a lot of these internet companies, their sales team will always change. Like for an example, Yelp has a salesperson assigned to you, and then that you get a month with them. Google assigns someone to you if you advertise with them, a month. Facebook, same thing. So they don't let you get too close to anybody because they know the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's not slander, but to a certain extent, something that's untrue, I think, is slander. But they say, so I shouldn't say it's not slander. That's not a good enough explanation. If something is not true, then it's slander. So if there's a difference of opinion and you're the expert, then how do you know?
I mean, Yeah, I just think that Yelp has to be fair to all parties.
They're not.
They have to try to be, otherwise there's no point, because I just won't believe. And I now, being in this business, even if I never really look at Yelp reviews, but if I do, I'm always like, well, there's so many other factors to this person's negative
The other side
review.
of the story.
There has to be, like, especially when it comes to businesses that are with consumer, like us, like
But
hairstylists,
we're artistic, so
or makeup artists.
right.
It's like you have an artistic point that you have to take into factor. You have your ability, what you can actually do, and you can't just always take all these reviews and believe them.
Well, yeah, and hopefully when I spoke to Yelp, my sales rep, because that you mentioned, can you speak to someone? Yeah, your sales rep, and they'll just tell you, oh, that's a different end of the business. I can't help you with that. And she'll just say, well, you just want to get more, more reviews that are positive.
It's like, yeah, thank you, I know
Yeah,
that.
and then what happens? You filter them out.
Exactly, you delete them in 48 hours.
Although you can see them. You can see them. They just come as not recommended at the bottom of the page.
Which again is a stupid
It's
thing.
just ridiculous.
It's so stupid because someone can still see them. So what are you actually doing?
Well, if they filter them out, they're taking out, at least they're not considered in your rating. So if they take out a 1-star or a 5-star, it won't affect your rating either way.
But they're not taking out the 1s. They're taking out the 5s.
Well, I think we should become elite Yelpers and just start.
I wouldn't even have the
I wouldn't have
energy
the
to
energy
care
or
to do that.
time. But when you read some of these reviews that these people do, and if you are one of these people, I'm sorry, but it's just like they're just trying to review anything just to get as many reviews up.
Well, they must get some incentive.
One guy, no, they don't. One guy reviewed a bridge in Cape Cod.
Wow. Wow.
An inanimate object. I couldn't believe it. I said, "You're reviewing the Sagamore Bridge."
Wow.
It was the only review on the
I'm
bridge.
telling you, it's about as good as reviewing a Dunkin' Donuts. You should just do that.
He did.
I
I
think
swear to God, he said that people were so kind that handed him the coffee. He actually liked this Dunkin' Donuts. Most people don't, but he actually liked it.
So what do we think about Groupon? Groupon and what's the other one?
All those discount sites, no, not for our business. I would never. I think, like we always said, you have to know your worth. And I think if you start becoming something that's just price driven, if someone's coming to you only based on a deal or a discount, you're not doing yourself a favor.
Well, in the past,
as a business,
we have used Groupon.
we use Living Social, which
Living
is,
Social, I'm
yes,
sorry,
which is
Living
now owned
Social.
by. It's all the same now.
And we learned very fast that the people that were coming in were one-hit wonders. They had no desire to be long life clients. They just wanted, their $50 off or $30%, whatever it was. It was so ridiculous.
Oh no, it was more than that. It was half price of a Brazilian blowout.
It was absolutely horrible. Awful.
And we had to give
I will
half
never
the money up.
I mean, I feel like because we're seasoned stylists, we don't have to go through this anymore. But in the beginning, we definitely, you want to try everything.
We tried it, and it was really for people, the stylists at the salon that weren't booked. But we lost our shirts.
I did about 1,000 of those Living Social Brazilian blowouts, and I want to throw up.
I know you did.
and I didn't retain one
No.
of those horrible clients.
They go for the next bigger, better deal.
awful.
And you know what it is
And now
too?
Nift is out.
No. The other thing that's don't make me laugh, please.
I'm
the
sorry.
other thing that's awful about a Groupon or Living Social too is that those are the people that are going online and going on Yelp and just
These people have a
kicking
business.
your
It's almost
butt.
like that's their job.
Oh,
they put
just
so
go
much
from-
time and effort.
One lady called me and said, "Oh, so we'll speak of Nift." Okay.
The new
Nift is, I think it's local to Boston. I think it's a Boston. It's called something gift. I don't know. Honestly, we gave a $30 discount on color, and most people will literally call you and tell you that they're only coming to you because of the discount.
Well, I'd rather have that,
But
because
that's fine.
honestly,
Well, the goal is to retain that client,
right? But honestly, it's kind of unfair if you're being told after their checkout that they have a Nift. It really is a little unfair to know that, okay, like it's something that's important to disclose. And a lot of places do just have to disclose before.
Well, with Groupon, yeah, they go through them. So the payment is made, I believe, through Groupon. I forget. I think so. Yeah. So you get paid later. Or that's how it was when we did Living Social. But NIFT, we just living through hell is what we should call it.
So let's go back to NIFT.
So
NIFT is only for hair salons, or can it be used?
It can be for anything. They're gifts. So it's like the business gives a gift.
So why couldn't you just get a gift card to somebody?
No, the gift it's a NIFT gift. So it's essentially it's just a discount. It's an incentive for a business to bring people in. Yes. Mm-hmm. So the people can rate you, and we did well. We did pretty well with NIFT, as far as you don't get the influx of clients that you do through Living Social because the deal is not that great.
Maybe also probably NIFT is not as popular as the Living Social and
it's smaller.
So it's just starting.
Plus, they're not you're not giving as much away. But the thing that happens is you're still getting that element of a person who's looking for the deal that will then unfortunately drive you crazy.
And it's okay to look for a deal. I'm not saying that it's not.
But then when they're not happy after they get the deal.
It's just, but the thing is with this business, it's really hard to give deals. And you almost don't want to go to someone who's going to give you a deal. Deals,
you really
leave
shouldn't.
that for buying cars and, clothes and all these great things that these big companies can give. Because, I mean, you have to pay for your product and your time. I mean, you want to go to someone.
We're a small business and we're not going to thrive if we're giving back money. Or, when we use NIFT, for an example, we're not cutting down and so it's a deal for color. Well, we're not using a different color that's less expensive on these clients. We're using our high-end color.
Or high-end Brazilian blowout.
High-end Brazilian. Well, no, the NIFT deal is strictly
No, I mean for
color.
the Living Social.
Right, exactly.
We did that.
But we would never compromise the type of product we're using. Mm-hmm. We're using expert stylists, our time. So you would think someone would be happy to get $30 off a color service. Well, some aren't. And then they also, a lot of people will try to trick you and say, I need a haircut. And this is where it's important that they tell you they're disclose they're coming from NIFT. So you're booking a haircut when the deal is for color. And then what do? They want $30 off their cut. Well, your cut is $45.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just not good.
So these discount things, I mean,
I would rather take care of my clients and give my clients
the loyalty,
and we have
the
done
deal
loyalty cards. And give them free products and all these great things than somebody who's going to come in, use my salon, go to the next one,
right,
and have and write also probably a crappy review,
right. So loyalty cards are important, and we do that even without a loyalty card. We take care of our clientele, mm-hmm. And if, like you said, if it's a free product, fine. I would rather, and if they refer a friend, we'll take care of them. Mm-hmm. They may get some free hair extensions. That's why it's important to not look at these Living Socials, Groupons. They're just.
I have so the only time I've used, I don't even think Living Social's around still. I think it's Groupon,
I think it is. I think it just merged with Groupon, but I'm not sure.
So I've used Groupon for vacations. That's the only time that I've used it.
Did it work?
Getaways, yeah, where you have bigger hotels and like activities,
bigger
whatever.
Companies.
I've actually used a Groupon in Italy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, which I didn't even realize was international.
But you didn't take it to a hair salon?
I didn't go to a hair salon. No.
No, not in Italy.
No, not in Italy. But I went to Assisi and stayed in Assisi for a few nights, which was really cool with Groupon. So I think like that's really fine, and it's okay when you're going to like hotels because they can go cheaper or do discounts.
I guess it's just the size of the business, and maybe it was off peak for that business,
mm-hmm.
For that hotel, for an example. So to get people in, they offer a deal.
And that's also good to write reviews about our hotels and things like that because you want to make sure they're clean and all these things. But if you're going to like slander a small business, that's just taking advantage.
You can't tell people who they can talk about. Mm-hmm. They can review whomever they want. What bothers me is when they use it as a point of, you better give me my money back or
else.
I'm going to Yelp.
At this point, I always tell you, just say, well, go right ahead. Because like I said, we have the people who know that we're not doing that. We're not like that. We can speak for ourselves. We're more than a review.
Yes.
We are more than a
And
review. So if you're going to threaten us with that, by all means, please, please write a review.
No,
I would
don't.
love to see it.
Leave us alone. So I have a friend who's new in business, and she said, for some reason Yelp has not put me on. And I said, count your blessings. Don't put yourself on
No,
Yelp.
don't put on. No, once you open up that door, you can't shut
Don't
it.
ever shut. I never put us on Yelp, but
I know.
Yelp found us on however someone reviewed us. But so the other thing I want to point out though is, so do we like Yelp? To wrap it up, I just wish their practices were more with the business in mind.
I
It's
was going to say,
great.
I wish we could just defend ourselves.
Yes, if we could at least defend ourselves, post pictures, maybe communicate, to the client, in a different, through direct message. I guess you can, but a lot of times no one is going to respond to you. If you DM them through Yelp, you can as a business owner, only if you advertise. If you don't advertise, you cannot reach out to these people.
And I think that's the other thing too, like you said in the beginning, just go to the person that before you review, just try to make a means, like see if they'll make it better for you in any way, so that if you write a review and you want to put the negative, you could also put the positive of how the problem was fixed. I think that's fair.
I did reach out to somebody that wrote a review, and she was very unhappy with, I don't know, something with her hair. I mean, she brought a picture in. In the picture, she put a side-by-side comparison of the picture of what she wanted for the hair, as well as what she got. And I'll be honest with you, it looked pretty close to me. It came out pretty close. It was just a style. And I reached out to her. And you know what? I believe she changed the review, because I said to her, what can we do for you? But she actually answered the phone. I had to actually call her because I tried to reach out to her through Yelp, but she didn't respond. So I had to call her.
So if you write bad reviews on Yelp, we're going to physically call you.
We're going to find you.
We're going to find you. No.
No, we're not going to find anybody.
No.
Sorry. We'll take that back.
We'll take that
We're
back.
from Boston, but we're not that tough.
No, but honestly, I think that make a means with whoever first. Try to, see what they can do for you. If they're nice, if they're gentle, if they're willing to fix something. And then if you still want to give your opinion, a fair opinion,
By all means.
then by all means, it's freedom of speech, but expect to maybe have a counter opinion.
Right. And this will serve anybody who's in business or someone who may like to read Yelp reviews. There's another side to it. So it's important that we get that out there as business owners, what we go through. It's not, we love to, we survive from our clients. That's our bread and butter. Mm-hmm. We want to make people happy.
And that being said, that is our bread and butter. Don't try to get discounts from people who are trying to work, because it's like, I wouldn't go to a doctor's office or, even a nail salon
they
and
review
try
doctors,
to get,
though.
I know, but and try to get discounts. I mean, that's how we feed, like I said, our children, our families.
Yeah.
So we take pride in what we do, but that's also, know your worth. Like, we're doing what we can. That's our job. That's our income.
Well, I think that Google has a decent review, a decent review site. You can review the business. The business owner can't alter or change the reviews or do anything with them. You do have the ability to dispute a review, but for the most part, they just leave everything. So if from A to Z, any review you get,
And you can counter it.
yes, you can counter it, although you cannot put up pictures on Google either. For whatever reason, you can't show. Like, for an example, I would like to blank out everything on that woman who bounced a check that I spoke of a few minutes ago and put, here's her $600 check she bounced on me. And to add insult to injury, she also put this beautiful review up about me. I would love to show that to people, but you can't. I guess you can't. And I know that I could blank out her account number, and I would love to have done that, but they won't let you. But Google, at least in fairness, anything that people say goes on it.
That's fair.
And I think that's better than this algorithm, because I don't know how someone who has the opportunity or time to Yelp all the time should take precedence over somebody else, because I don't think that makes their opinion any better.
No, but the whole point of giving your opinion doesn't mean you have to go to the place or other places 100 times.
Or yell or write about them.
That's what I
or
mean.
review them
Like,
constantly.
If my client, like I said, wants to just write a nice review about me and they just signed up to Yelp, their review should not be taken down.
It's taken down. In
Ridiculous.
most cases.
Yeah.
It's
So
taken down.
do we love or hate it?
Do you want me to be honest?
I know what your honest opinion is.
Yeah, I hate it.
I know.
You?
I hate it, but I feel like by saying I hate it, it takes away all the beautiful reviews that I have, and I don't want to do that.
No, but go on Google.
But also, I feel just as much pride and happiness with someone just telling me face to face, like, I love what you did. It looks so beautiful. If they want to write a beautiful review, that's great.
Well, they can go on Facebook. They can post a picture on Instagram. How nice is it to open your Instagram and you see a client
Who
that
tagged
reposted
themselves,
and tagged
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that is a picture. A picture is 1,000 words. I mean, that to me is far more legitimate than other types of reviews. So I just think, okay, so I don't discourage people from reading review sites. They just need to know that there's an algorithm with Yelp that doesn't necessarily work well for a business. And it hurts a small business. And that stinks. And that's what bothers me. Google is far more fair. Facebook, they can go on our page and write reviews. I can't take them down. But at least it's a fair representation of everything from who's a 5-star to who wants to give you a couple stars. But that's it. There's nobody filtering out anything.
Yeah. Someone else should not have the ability to filter out your reviews.
Well, it's an algorithm.
Whatever
Whatever that is. I mean, I know what an algorithm is, but really, enough.
I know.
So, no, I don't like it. I think that people should read the Google reviews, far more interesting.
Or just experience it for yourself.
Yep. Or, you know what? Exactly. But people have the right to speak. And people have,
Speak amongst yourself.
Well, it's funny because I watch judge shows. I'm addicted to like Judge Judy, and there's always someone bringing someone on for slander on these judge shows. And the bottom line is, someone like Judge Judy would say, well, the person has a right to their opinion. So,
yeah.
as much as,
But we have a right to ours.
And also,
And this is what the podcast is.
And also a fair opinion. Just keep it fair. So anyway, it was a pleasure speaking with you. I thought we speak to each other all the time. We just wanted to get that out there, and hopefully this helps people. So we would love to hear from you. Is there subjects you'd like to talk about?
Yes. Or if you're a small business and you would like to be on our podcast and, talk about whatever you're doing or whatever you're into.
Let's
be
collab.
really fun.
We're going to have... So we're from Boston, as you may know, especially from our accents, but we're having a young lady, Melanie. She has her own clothing line. She'll be on. Then we have Dan. He actually works here, and he also...
A man's perspective.
Yeah, so Dan he runs this studio where we podcast, and he runs the front desk at our salon. And he's a true man's man, and he's going to give us a fair perspective of what he thinks of all the stuff that we do, as far as our hair extensions, our hair colors, eyelash extensions, lip injections, everything. What a guy really thinks about it. I think it should be interesting.
Yeah, because men don't really know anything until you bring it to their attention. And then usually they're like, ugh.
Well, they say a bill.
Exactly. But then they're looking at all the women who have all these things and just thinking they're just gorgeous or sexy or hot. So but for most of the time,
we'll ask Dan. He's a fair representation.
Okay.
He's a 38-year-old guy. He's a real guy from Boston. Although he does work with, he has Boston wrestling, so he works with a lot of wrestlers. So he must see some of those hot little chicks running around. So we'll see what he thinks for his woman, what he thinks his woman should look like too.
yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we thank you for tuning in. Hope you listened, and hopefully you gained something from our rant.
And if you feel like you want to write on Yelp, by all means, but I think you have to be fair. That's all we're saying.
And if you need help with Yelp, reach out to Noelle at noellesalon.com, because I'm a good investigator and I'll help you.
We'll call people for you. We'll show up.
No, I'll help you research them. So anyway, we want to thank you for tuning in, and You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and we want to thank you for tuning in. Have a great one.
Bye.